And now for the hilarity of what is Therapist in Conversation. Good evening, everybody. Tonight we're going to be discussing, guess what? Since it's December, not the C word, no, we're going to be describing and looking at what's going to be happening next year. We're looking forward. Your goals, your aspirations, how you feel about what's going to be coming up, what you'd really like to be doing, what you'd really like to be seeing in 2021. It seems that the universe counts a bit like I do because 2020 just wasn't there. So let's have a go then. Angela, what are you looking forward to?
Do you know, I've quite enjoyed 2020. I know you said 2020 wasn't there, and you said this is December. We're going live in January. So yeah, what am I looking forward to? I think I'm just looking forward to maybe spending some time in the real world with real people. I think that's my key one, I think.
Okay, so we're not real. We're
face
virtual.
to face,
we're virtually real.
perhaps.
Yes,
Yeah.
in person.
That's why I put the bunny ears, the quotes on there.
Bunny ears, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know, but it's still December when we do this. In January the 5th is still close enough to December. It really is. Trust me, when you've got a birthday in January, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
So looking forward to the rest of January and the rest of the year, Leslie. What are you looking forward to for this year?
Me?
Coming?
Oh, I'm looking forward to having a massive audience on this. Because the streaming and everything is going to be not from my eyes, it's going to actually be from the computer. And it's going to be wonderful. So I'm looking forward to being another year older very quickly. My friend will be looking forward to being the same age as me again because she gets older than me in November. So she's always a year older than me for like 2 months. And I enjoy that immensely. Yeah, so I'm just going to take it as it comes. I'm looking forward to talking to more people. I'm looking forward to online courses that I'm writing, getting out there and getting done, and people actually wanting to have them and take them up. That would be great. But also, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Just seeing what comes. Because I think it could be a really interesting year, and not in the Chinese proverb way, but a nice, interesting year. I think perhaps we will actually manage to get some hybrid meetings done. I think that the way that we're going with the virtual networking, etc., is going to become a hybrid situation where you can go out if you want to, or you can stay indoors with your gin and tonic and your slippers on and your jammy bottoms if you want to, and network away with your top half, just being totally businesslike. So
I lived that life for like 5 years. I still was in corporate working from home. It was great. No difference. No difference.
Look what we missed. Then again, I used to spend my life in scrubs, so it didn't really matter. I was always in a form of jammies. I'm glad I didn't hear that properly. So, Victoria, what are you going to be up to?
I'm looking forward to seeing live theatre again. So as a drama therapist, I really miss walking into a theatre and watching a live show and, you know, listening to live music and things like that as well. So yeah, I really want to reconnect with the arts again. And because I'm newly qualified as well, it's been quite a strange year to actually land a job. So I'm still in that like in between phase, trying to pick up freelance work and things. Which is a bit difficult. So yeah, I'm looking forward to actually working as well. So yeah, those two things I'm really looking forward to in 2021.
Groovy. I mean, yeah, I'm thinking every time I see films and things of people at music festivals and going into theaters and going to the cinema, and I'm actually looking at it and going, wow, there's going to be a time when we're going to say we used to do that.
Yeah.
And actually having to say that was a novelty. That was something that we did. That strangely is an idea that your brain is getting very used to this stuff very fast. So talking of that, Dave.
Okay. Apple's got a really big year coming up. Whatever happens in the outside world, it's a massive year for Apple. So a lot of my hopes are kind of tied up with that. So things like the launch of the specializations for professionals, so they can be recognized and celebrated for the work that they do and the things that interest them, which is going to help the public to find professionals quicker, easier, and more effectively. Is something I'm really looking forward to seeing come to fruition. That's been in the pipeline for about 8 months. I'm really looking forward to the international projects going live, and we're announcing more of those details on those at our end of year event on the end of this week, actually. So looking forward to that. But one thing that we did this week was preparation for a hope for the future, which was our panel conversation. And the thing that came up over and over again was collaboration.
Yeah.
Really, really hope that 2021 is going to be the year where the therapeutic community collaborates, not just writes letters and asks everybody to endorse a letter. That's not collaboration. Collaboration means actually sitting around and going, this is what we are as a sector. This is who we are. This is our identity. However that fits, but we've got to be leading the therapeutic support system for everyone that's been through 2020.
Yeah, this was in fact the energy that brought this together.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what, my hope is that this is another one of those kindling little fires across the sector that are burning, and there's lots of them, that this now turns into a forest fire that goes out and goes, mental health, emotional well-being is 2/3 of our human condition. Yeah. Let's actually start working with the 2/3 rather than just the 1/3 that we have been for the last 40 years.
Yeah. And a
so
little bit more.
That's my big hope, is it becomes a year of collaboration and meaningful
I get the feeling that it's there. It's kind of, as you say, bubbling under the surface, waiting to, just for somebody to put their head above the parapet, which we're doing now. Everybody here anyway on this group is starting to put their heads above the parapet and say, I'm here. All you have to do is connect with me, because I'm open to being connected with. And I think that that's basically the human condition, really. We are social animals. We need to collaborate. Otherwise, we don't survive.
Yeah. And as a sector, we've got very used to being siloed into our disciplines and our modalities and everything else. And 2020 has shown us that actually that doesn't serve us as a sector any good, but it doesn't serve the public any good at all. No. And they need us now more than ever to be solid and to be united and be together. And I hope 2021 is going to be the year where that starts to form in a really kind of meaningful way, so the public get to understand that the support is there, it's meaningful, it works, it's about connecting to it.
Yeah. Susan Humphreys, what you been
doing? Hello. Hello. 2021. A reflection of this year, I think a lot of us realised how much we took our freedom for granted and what we could do in our everyday life. I think with all the restrictions and the lockdown.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. We're looking forward. We're not looking back tonight.
Yeah. No, that's fine. And it's just to say, springing forward, I think that what we couldn't do the last few months, we are all going to be springing forward to do next year. For me personally, I had to close down my Crystal Souls business, my therapy business, but I'm now very, very happy that I've now managed to launch my Alchemy Zen holistic business. And next year, I've already started yoga courses. I want to do a coaching course. So I want to diverse. I want to crack on getting more qualifications so that I can just help more people next year, because I think people are going to need some help and support as we start getting back into the role as our tiers are actually lifted. Yeah, and we need to get back to normality.
Yeah, definitely. Sue.
So a lot going on.
I am looking forward to hugging people.
Yeah.
I love hugging people, whether it's friends, family, clients. I'm a hugger, so I'm really looking forward to hugging. I agree that collaboration is absolutely going to be the way forwards for the therapy industry as a whole. And I already work very well with lots of referral networks, and I think, you know, that's such a vital move, that we are looking after our clients as in a holistic way, and kind of recommending and referring out, going, actually, I'm not the best person for this, let's bring in this person or this person or this person. We do that very much as part of the chronic fatigue recovery process that I work with. We always work in referral teams. I am looking forward to GPs and the NHS actually taking on the chronic fatigue recovery model, because we are inching our way forwards. We've got more and more GPs kind of coming on board. It's getting really exciting, and to get a very cohesive approach to ME chronic fatigue recovery will be amazing, and there's going to be a lot more people needing those services as we move forwards. And on a personal, I've got kind of two sides to my business, but on the stuff that I do, the energy work, I have multiple programs pinging around in my brain, and I'm looking forward to delivering them all. So it's going to be a busy year. It's going to be an exciting year. I'm looking forward to it.
Groovy. I'm looking forward a little bit to my shaman friend Bola has just put the Krantara out, that the global shamanic summit that he's been organizing for this year and had to be put off. He's got the dates for next year, and it's in October next year in Kathmandu. Oh, I have my eyes set on that. Don't tell Andrew.
I hope he doesn't watch this then.
I don't think he does. I think he just likes it and then goes on. As most men do. husbands and things, when you're doing something. Yes, I'll just like that on Facebook and not tell her that I didn't have to look at it. Or is that just mine? Yeah,
Couldn't
sorry.
possibly
Can
comment.
I jump back into your general sweeping generalizations there? Just for you. So what else is going to be happening then? What are we going to be doing?
Do you know, I was just thinking, I just said I was looking forward to seeing people in the real world. I hadn't even thought about what my business looks like for next year.
Go on then. Go on then. Have a
So
think.
yeah, well, so for my business, I'm looking at the fact that I've got some new therapies coming online. Some new training that was completed in 2020. So that's quite exciting, and new options and packages. So it's just a case now of working out how to tell people about them in a sensible manner that gets people excited. So that's my challenges for 2021.
So what about your challenges, Victoria? Is it just going to be about getting a job, or is there something else that you've got that you see as a challenge that you would like to best this next year?
Yeah, at the moment the forefront is getting a job and actually being able to practice, because I've not held a session since March, which was a trainee session, and that feels like about 1 million years ago now. And also because it was face to face as well, and I kind of wonder, like, you know, what's it going to look like in early 2021 if I do get a job? Like, you know, I will have to still keep social distance, which has become so normal now, but I struggle to think what that looks like in a professional setting. But yeah, like, I just want to also challenge myself and, like, you know, doing other CPD events and things like that as well. But I think because I'm newly qualified, I'm at that stage of, yeah, I'll do anything. But yeah, it's kind of sitting down and thinking, okay, like, what do I want to actually learn next? Not just do it all at once, like, you know.
Well, like I do.
Yeah, Angela's a stacker, aren't you? Yeah, stack courses.
I'm a certificate junkie. I'll admit it. People that know me know that. It's fine.
It's when Kellogg starts sending you them in the packet that you start after worrying.
Ooh.
Hey, that was below the belt.
No, when
Certificate's a certificate. I'm happy.
It's a certificate. It's a certificate. She's gonna be happy even if it's
You just said that, yeah.
box.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll send you a certificate and that for your Christmas. Oh, I said the C word.
No, it's fair. It's fair. My mum was doing a clear out and found some of my old certificates. So I shared it with the group that I was training with, who like to tease me about my certificate collection. And I said that I'd found one for the fact that I'd swum 15 yards and I had a certificate for it. I might have been about 4 or 5, but it's fine. It's still a certificate.
I like the ones that you get for doing not a lot at all, because there was just for turning up basically. I recently got one for that, just for turning up onto a course that we were doing on applied storytelling. Brilliant course, great course. And we learned a lot on there, did quite a lot of stuff. But then somebody decided that they thought it would be nice to have a certificate to say that you've done it. That's like, but we know we did it.
We were there. We signed the registration document, right?
Yeah,
but now you've got proof forever and a day, and you can put it in a frame and you can put it on the wall.
You really got this whole thing pat down now, haven't you? So.
Yeah, I can't put them on my walls. The landlord won't let me.
But there you go then, Leslie. For a question for you: if you could do any training in 2021, what would you love to be able to do as a goal?
Well, now, this probably doesn't count in your eyes, but
I'm not judgmental.
yesterday morning, my friend in Monaco sent me a couple of photographs of my old judo professor, and I immediately wanted to get back on that mat.
Awesome. Now there is a really cool New Year's resolution.
Yeah, it might not be.
Why not?
Well, I'm kind of a lot older now. And when I left there, I was actually doing my black belt kata.
Wow.
And so it's been so long since I even went there that if I even tried, my mind will remember how to do it. But I've already had the experience of the mind knowing what to do. The brain writing checks your body can't actually pay out.
It's not fun if it's not a proper goal. Then that sounds like a really good challenge.
It does, doesn't it? But I think my best goal is probably going to be getting a dog.
Cool.
I want a dog, which means that I'm going to have to get work because I can't afford a dog at the moment. Because have you seen how much Noel Fitzpatrick's charges? The super vet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's $5,000 for an MRI scan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, having been, it's my former profession, so it's like, it's interesting because we're now verging on the fact that it's all technology. And I think what I'm looking forward to, what I would find to challenge somebody to say is that, could you not actually do things without all the bells and whistles and just do it straight and use your mind, use your brain to diagnose something because the signs and symptoms are there? Why don't you trust yourself? You just went through 5 years of college to go and do it. Why don't you trust yourself? So it's one of those things that's I have a lot of stuff going on at the moment. At this time of the year, I've been hankering, because I've been getting a little bit more exercise and I've been getting a little bit more and looking at stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, this walk would be much better if I had a Wisla beside me. Because they don't stop walking. They don't stop anything, actually. They bounce off the walls wherever they are.
And that would get the fitness level up to get back on the mat.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
Yes.
So this time next year, Leslie, we will be asking you whether you've managed to achieve your black belt.
Well, it can only happen in Monaco.
There we go.
And
Who
there's an excuse as the travel stuff starts to get lifted into 2021.
Exactly.
Well, I know somebody who travelled to Spain yesterday, so I don't see that there's an actual problem. It's getting back that could be the issue. Although
If they've got a son, you don't need to come back.
Exactly.
So has anybody else got any fun educational or challenge goals that they've got for next year?
I think one of my kind of big challenges is going to be working with the World Leaders for Mental Health program, and having 25 different world leaders looking at the framework that we've put together to support mental health across all of those countries and moving that project forward. That's going to be probably the biggest challenge. Challenge that I'm looking forward to is the PSA and getting APA's registration with the Professional Standards Authority locked down.
Is that a certificate?
Yes, I think there will be one, yes.
Ticks my box then.
I'll send you a digital copy. But yeah, I think that's going to be probably kind of the two challenges that we're going to face pretty early on in 2021. And the training side, I would probably like to get back into physical shapers. It's something that has gone by the wayside in building up the organisation and everything else. So as things start to smooth out and time can be made available, that's probably where I'll send my efforts on personal challenge.
Can we get some form of certification for that you've gone for a walk?
You know the smartwatches.
Oh no!
Do they give you certificates?
Well, they keep giving me these little rosette things.
Yeah.
It's like, what is
like
this?
get a gold star on your jota.
It told me to breathe once. I'm like, I'm breathing. What do you mean? And I got a rosette for it.
You see, this is it. It's just going too far now. It's definitely going too far. I mean, your unconscious mind already has that down. It does that because if it didn't, we wouldn't even be looking at the watches. We'd be lying blue in the corner. So, you know.
The fact that we're now relying on technology to tell us when to stand up, when to breathe, when to walk, when to...
Oh wait, I've just been told to stand up.
I've got a name for it. I call it the Pavlovian paradigm. Pavlov's dogs. It bings and you do what it tells you.
See, that just reminds me of Pavlova, and that just...
No, that's
a different story.
Also a ballet dancer. Actually, I wouldn't mind going to the ballet again.
So that's a nice wee segue to come back to Victoria. You'd said you didn't want to stack loads of courses in. What courses have you got in mind for 2021 or learning?
I don't know, to be honest, because I just recently attended the virtual conference for the British Association of Drama Therapists the other weekend. And it was really just so inspiring. I just listened to so many drama therapists talk about their work and what they do and some projects they run. And I was just like, yeah, this is why I do this. And I think one of the ones that stood out was one around addiction and working with addiction. So I'd like to learn more about that because I just found the person who ran that workshop was just really inspiring and he really knew what he was talking about. So yeah, I think that's what I'd like to learn about a bit more. Because I didn't get a chance to work in that client group in training. So yeah, if you're
have you got his, have you got his
So,
details? You can get in touch with him.
Yeah, I've got his details. So yeah, I probably will get in touch with him and yeah, because I think even at that workshop, somebody said to him, would you be willing to do a CPD whole day event on this? And he said, yeah. So I will be checking my emails on all that. So
fantastic.
So yeah, it's just things like that are exciting as well because I think as therapists it can be quite isolating work sometimes as well. So as what you were saying, Dave, about, you know, collaboration, I think that's really important in this field of work as well, because yeah, you don't want to be too isolated, because what we do is really interesting, and especially because we all come from different fields of therapy as well. It's good to like kind of connect and collaborate across modalities as well. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it'd be good to cross modalities sometimes without the idea that you'll be taking away from something. And I think that what we want to do is we want to be adding. We want to make sure that we understand that we're adding to, not taking away from.
Wendy Dryden calls it professional drift.
Okay.
And the idea that you can drift between different modalities as your client needs, once you've been able to spend that time understanding those different things. And you don't have to be a master in any one of those things in order to be able to drift through them as you need. I think it was a really nice way of kind of explaining the need to come away from those silo modalities.
Have you just given me an excuse to do more courses, Dave?
There's certificates in them.
You can
We're
never
talking about
really
these till Easter if we don't get on with this.
So we've not heard from Sue and Susan. Have you guys got thoughts on courses or learning that you want to take in 2021?
Definitely for me, I want to get back into volunteer work with Havens. So hopefully when they can lift that, I can get back in there. So I miss that a lot. I really do. Being hands-on and hugging everyone, absolutely. At the moment, I'm studying my teacher yoga. So when I qualify in April, then I should be able to help people. So using the time productively for next year. And I'm looking at coaching courses. So I like certificates as well. And while we've got this time, embrace it so we can help people as we go into 2021. So the more we know, the more we can support in different areas and help our fellow humans, because people are going to need it. They are, after Christmas, they're going to need it. And we're here to help.
A bit of alchemy.
Yes, absolutely. So I like the word because it's a combination, because as we meet each individual, obviously they all need help. We all need help in different ways. So it might be a little bit of exercise, a little bit of mental support, maybe a little bit of reflexology. So it's trying to diversify the treatments and maybe do a duo treatment. So it's an interesting concept which I'm working on at the moment. So yeah, so doing physical on the couch, but also the physical movement and breathing. You're talking about breathing on the app, which yoga, of course, very much encourages you and your breathing and meditation. So yeah, so it's a whole new side I'm looking at.
Cool, fantastic.
Sue?
It's amazing, amazing journey.
Well, Susan, I actually mentor for trainee wellbeing coaches, so I'm really happy to have a conversation after this about training and wellbeing coaching, because it's a fabulous course, and let's have a little chat about that.
Lovely, thank you. Okay, namaste.
You're ready to work. Yes.
And there's certificates.
We will now rename this session.
Sorry.
I would like to see your swimming certificate, actually. So
I'll pop it in the group.
So what else are we looking at? Because there was a big long list, wasn't there?
So we're looking forward to the Healthy Happy 2021. We've already mentioned resolutions and our hopes for the year. We were looking at our goals, which we've touched on as well. And we were also looking at goal setting and how we discuss that with our clients.
Yeah, because that's one of those things, isn't it? We have to understand that goals are sometimes things that are way out there. And the abyss that's in between them is where a lot of us kind of fall down. because it's still way over there, but we have absolutely no idea of how to get from here to there. And we get stuck, or we get stopped, or we get sidetracked. And I know that from this week because, you know, I was supposed to send someone an email and I suddenly discovered that I didn't quite know how to write down for them the way that they liked to see it, what we were supposed to be doing. So I'm now redrafting. I think I'm on draft 3 of this email because Andrew, my husband, who is very good at these things because he knows how to do this, keeps telling me, no, you want to do it that way. So I'm thinking I'm going to employ him to actually do it for me, just give him the information and say, you do it. So that might be quite a good thing. But goals, yeah. I think that milestones are also important between the goals. The first small steps between.
When I was doing the research for the psychological hive, the thing around goal setting in the most successful companies and the most successful individuals was never the goal is set out in the future, because the world changes before you reach that point in the future. And what you set today for somewhere in the future will 9 times out of 10 not be relevant when you reach it. But the majority of people put all of the stepping stones and all of the checklists in place so they can reach that goal in the future. And when they get to the bottom of that list, if they ever reach the bottom of that list, and invariably we don't get there because life happens, they still have to jump to achieve the goal. And they don't make that final step. It's too far to jump. So the goal is never reached. And it's always put down to, well, we didn't get to this, or this didn't happen. And all of the excuses fall into play. What I found the most successful people do, go, this is my goal, and everything I do today has to connect with that goal in some way. And when they do that, the goal becomes achievable, because every day they are connecting to that goal, and it stops life getting in the way of that target that's somewhere in the future.
It's also habit building though. It's one of those things that you're stacking habits on top of one another. And yeah. I think it's James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, is very good for putting that out there and giving it in very simple terms. And that if you want to make a change in behavior, if you want to make a change in your life, then don't, as is the issue with a lot of New Year's resolutions, people are always, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to stop smoking, I'm going to stop drinking, I'm going to stop partying, I'm going to stop doing this, I'm going to stop doing that, I'm going to really, really, really have a bikini ready body by the time the summer comes. And then suddenly you're sitting there going, which one do I pick first? Because we all know that when you stop smoking, it usually means you're going to get hungry. And if you're anything like me, when anybody mentions the word diet, I immediately go look for a chocolate bar. Because it's like, how dare you? How very dare you even mention the word diet?
That mindset is very physical, isn't it? That mindset of, I am going to do X. It's very physical. And we don't attach the psychological or the emotional benefit of what that achieving that physical is going to do for us, or what we can do once we've achieved it. So, you know, I had a client not so long ago who came and said their goal was to go to the gym 3 times a week. But they had no attachment to that other than going to the gym 3 times a week. Well, if you've got no sense of beyond that, then going to the gym 3 times a week is meaningless. It doesn't mean anything.
Well, I know
my gym's got a coffee shop. I could quite happily go to the gym 3 times a week. It's about adding extra to it, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like when I was going to Tibet last year, that was my goal, and I knew that it was over 1,500 meters or whatever it is, 15,000. It's 15
tall.
It's very tall. It's very large, low, so high. You know, it's a Jimi Hendrix song. In reality, you really can kiss this guy in this place. And knowing that I was going to have to do it, I actually went to the gym 3 times a week, and sometimes more. And I got up to 5K.
I guess that's because you've attached more to it than just the mechanics.
Yeah.
There's a reason behind it. There's a drive for it. And Dave, you said that sometimes life then gets in the way, but actually, if you think about it in the way that you're talking about, life becomes the goal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I found with the most successful organizations and the most successful people. The goal isn't some physical entity somewhere in the future. It's a meaningful point of contact right now. And everything that they do is attached to it. And that means that they are achieving goals quicker, bigger goals, and enjoying the benefits, because it's not just physical. There's the emotional and psychological attached to it, which makes up the whole person. So they're using what we know as therapeutic professionals and as coaches, that if they use what we know, they can achieve more.
Interestingly enough, also, some of the times that they get tripped up is actually the length of time and then the lactic acidosis that hits afterwards. However, this guy, James Clear, talks about going to the gym or increasing your fitness levels. And he talks about just doing something for 10 minutes. You just do it for 10 minutes, then you stop. And that actually is quite good, because it puts in there this, hang on a minute, I'm enjoying this. Why do I have to stop? So you want to do it more.
You can go for another 5. That's fine, not a problem.
So you
and you build it up subconsciously, yeah.
But then, actually, it's quite good to tailor it to that, because once you get fed up only doing 10 minutes, your body's actually ready to take on more, because your muscles are going, yeah, I can cope with that. I can do that. I'm not going to hurt if I do that. I remember the last time I did some physical exercise in front of the television. I think it was this lady who was telling me that I could slim down in 6 weeks. And oh my goodness, I understood why after I'd done the workout. Couldn't walk for 2 days afterwards.
You weren't doing that daily then?
No, I certainly wasn't doing that daily. But there was no real work up to it. There wasn't and I said, well, I'll just do a little bit. But it was a case of, actually, I'm quite enjoying this. I wonder if I can do a little bit more. Maybe I can do just a little bit more. And then realize that the next day I couldn't have done any of it.
And that's the thing, when anything is just attuned to the physical, the functionality, invariably it fails, because it's only 1/3 of us working towards it. And the question around how do we talk to clients about goal setting, for me, it is always about attaching the other 2/3 of their existence to what it is that they are goal setting.
Yeah, so you know as well, particularly with the chronic fatigue situation, that making things in small amounts is really important. Getting the small wins.
Absolutely, and we use goal setting all the time, but they've got to be. You've got to have the emotional attachment. I say you've got to have all the feels. You've got to have the feels for your goal, because then you've got that emotion invested in it, and you've got, they've got to be smart. You've got to be able to know when you've got there and all the rest of it. But what is it actually going to bring you? As Dave was saying, you've got to bring in that emotional connection, and then create those little steps on the way. So we always kind of set a long term and a mid term, and then shorter goals, because for some people it might literally just be getting out of bed.
Yeah.
It might, if they're really in a severe chronic fatigue state, it might be moving from their bedroom to a different room for half an hour. That's a huge goal for some people. There's no point in setting like, I'm going to climb Kathmandu next year if they're not in any state, but breaking it down into those little step by steps, so anything that's achievable, and what are they going to feel? And also, energetically, we have to kind of visualization and putting ourselves in that energetic space makes a huge difference in how we can perceive and achieve what we want to get and what we want to be able to do.
And one of the things that I've done, I don't know whether anyone else has used this, it's something that I got taught years ago, was the idea of working backwards from the achievement. So what is the achievement? How does that feel? What happened? What was the step before that? and the step before that, and the step before that, and you bring them back to where they are now. So they've got a path that says these are the things that get you there, because you just traveled in time to that achievement. So now you know what you can replicate. You can do something every single day along those steps that is going to make that achievement real right now.
So start with the end in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that, although I talk about going to the gym last year, it took 4 or 5 years before I could get to that point of actually getting out to go out, which is really interesting, since now I've been in rest mode for another year afterwards.
And
But it's not going to take you 4 or 5 years to get back to it though now, is it?
No, it's not going to take me 4 or 5 years to get back to it. Not after doing it. Not after achieving that. Because although I didn't get the whole way round, I got farther than I thought I was ever going to be able to manage.
And bringing back in Sue's comment, all the feels, how did that feel?
Oh, it felt
To
amazing.
blow your goals out the water.
Oh, it was like I was 15 again, and everything was in front of me and I could do anything.
But you also went past the tape, as it were.
Oh, yeah.
Colin Jackson, when I was running, was the one person who kept telling everybody that was around on the track, don't run for the tape. Don't go for the goal that is the end. You go for 6 feet past it, and you keep going, because if you're going fast enough and everything's working, you'll go through that tape and you won't even realize that you've gone, and you're round the curve already into the next race.
You see, that goes back into the power of your mind, because when we were breaking boards in our NLP master track thing, we were breaking boards, we weren't supposed to just look at the board to break it. We had to go through the board, past the board. The board just wasn't there. And it's amazing how once you get to grips with that idea, and your mind set will actually help the rest of your body go, okay, we can do this. As long as you don't go too nuts, we can do this. And it's just one more step. Having broken a board, broken an arrow, walked on fire, and I stopped at the glass. I didn't want to do the glass. I thought, yeah, trod on glass before, didn't work out too well for me. So maybe not. But again, when you've got that thought in your head already, when you've got that experience, you tend to go, maybe not, and you tense up. So like Sue was saying, that it's the small wins, it's the feels, and if you're not feeling it, don't do it.
I find when you're going for your goals, if you write down a step-by-step process and then keep a diary, sometimes that gives you the motivation and the focus to get from one step to the next, and that's sometimes useful. And even having a visual, something to aim for at the end, whether it's a picture of going on holiday under a palm tree, or a particular dress you might like to get into. And they're sometimes quite nice, or maybe that wedding dress. Sometimes it's quite nice to have a visual thing to aim for as well.
And I guess with the whole writing it down aspect, as you're progressing, not just to write it down, but to celebrate the successes as you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's been blowing out with a whole box of Ferrero Rocher. Other chocolates are available.
The ambassador is celebrating with you.
The ambassador's sitting there counting his money. So we're all going to be looking at next year and saying, okay, we're up for it. We're going to do this. And we're all going to be coming together again. And hopefully there'll be some more of us too, because in the next year, I'm hoping that we can get up to maybe 8 or 10 even on a meeting, which would be good. And see how this goes. It's interesting because it's almost like just winding it up and watching it go and see what happens. And it's a wonderful kind of idea that we've been given this hiatus and now given the chance to breathe, and look at things and see where we can go now, instead of just head down, trundling straight through because we're too stressed to look at anything else. But as a community of healers and therapists and teachers, we've been given a space to actually come together and to get to know a bit more about what each of us does, and to have that understanding will allow us to actually go farther forward, stronger together, and actually more respected by each other by that understanding of what we all do. So I'm looking very much forward to seeing you all very soon when we do our retrospective, maybe, but definitely January, bring it on. So thank you, everybody, and I'll see you next time.
Take care.